Welcome back to another episode of Light Beer, Dark Money. I'm Sean Noble.
I'm Chris Clements.
And it is graduation time.
Yeah, we're recording this a little bit early in the week because on the Thursday when we're usually in the studio, we're a bit busy.
Yes, we've got graduations. And I've already had a graduation. Last week, my 18-year-old, Seth, graduated from high school.
That is fantastic. Congratulations.
Barry Goldwater High School.
Barry Goldwater High School.
And as I was sitting there watching that happen, I leaned over to my 21-year-old daughter and I said, damn it, I could have been done.
Because you have a lot of kids.
I got a lot of kids. So that's
how many? Eight?
Yeah, that was he was number 5 of the first of the bigs. And now I've got 3 of the littles. And so I figured out that I'm going to be an old man when
that is amazing.
When my youngest graduates from high school.
Yeah.
So instead of being a middle-aged man, I'm going to be an old man. So
well, I've got a graduation this week. I've got my son, Preston, graduating from All Saints, 8th grade.
Nice.
He's on his 8th grade trip to Boston right now. They're getting back tonight.
He's on his way to Brophy?
And he is on his way to Brophy.
Congratulations.
Which is a big deal. He started Brophy spring football 2 weeks ago. For 2 weeks. He was so nervous, so worked up. And he'd been training for it with a friend of the show who'd been on the show, Luke Cayenne, for about a year. And it was so funny because he was all worked up going in just to practice. And then I let him go, and he forgot like his cleats. I had to run home, get his cleats. And he's like, I'm just not going to do well. I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, Preston, just calm down. Everybody here, I mean, 90% of the kids in here have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then when I came back and got to see the last hour of practice, he was just dialed in, and he loved the whole thing.
Great.
So he's pumped up for summer school and summer football, and he's got a summer job and all that stuff.
Great.
So it's really cool.
Yeah. Reagan, my 6-year-old, graduates from kindergarten on Thursday. Well, I guess by the time you're hearing this, she will have been graduated.
That is great. Graduating from kindergarten.
Yes, it's a big deal. So instead of being done with graduations, at least
it just continues. It just continues. Well, I had the opportunity over the weekend, last Friday, to attend the University of Arizona graduation. My mother, Ginny Clements, received an honorary doctorate.
Is that right?
From the University of Arizona School of Medicine.
Congratulations.
For all her contributions to breast cancer research down there. So that was really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, I got to meet the new president. Seems like a nice guy. But then for the first part of the graduation, until they got to the keynote, which I understand was great, I had to head back. I sat through some of the most woke speeches I've ever sat through in my life. From these kids where I was like, really? And one gentleman stood out. He was president of the Graduate Student Council. He was getting his Juris Doctor. And he was actually the head of the student of the union, the actual
union.
labor union of students.
Okay.
And he was railing against the fact that we have a 5-day work week and we celebrate Saturdays and Sundays because they're part of the Judeo-Christian tradition, and they're there for the Jews and the Christians. But what do we have for the Muslims and for the Hindus and the Buddhists? And then he railed against the 8-hour work week, and I'm like, buddy, you're going to love pro bono work.
Yeah.
You're going to love it. It's going to, all the volunteering.
Sounds like he's going to be
be so much fun.
Just a very successful lawyer.
Yeah. He just got like 0 job offers off of that speech.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's interesting because there were a couple students that spoke at my son's high school graduation, and they were great speeches.
Yeah.
No wokeness.
Yeah, that's great.
I was very happy to hear that.
That is always nice to hear because it was... We had to identify that we were on stolen land.
Oh my gosh. This is definitely a generational thing. The younger kids are definitely not as woke as mid-20s plus.
Yeah.
Right? Because this kid, if he's graduating from law school, he's probably mid-20s, right?
He's early 20s probably. He's probably 23 or so. I mean, he was still pretty young. Yeah.
18, 24, yeah, 20, 24, 25 maybe.
Yeah.
So, but,
I mean, they
17,
all look
18
young
years.
when they're
Well,
as old
I
as
know,
we are.
I know. Everyone looks young.
Everyone looks so much younger.
But I think this is borne out in polling and registration numbers that kids 18 to 22 tend to, especially men, tend to be more conservative than kids that are 25 to 35.
Yeah.
So,
well, it probably has
figure.
something to do with. I mean, there's a shift happening. Certainly, I mean, more young men are going back to church. Becoming more conservative than even their fathers. So there's a shift, and we'll see what happens with it.
Well, and the question is,
I didn't see the shift at the University of Arizona.
Yeah. Well, and
I might not have seen it at ASU.
Maybe
I don't know.
But there is. I mean, it is interesting. I've noticed in the what has it been 3 years that I've been attending Catholic Mass. There are younger and younger people filling up the pews.
Yeah.
More so than even 3 years ago. It's interesting to watch. There is definitely a resurgence of faith among younger people. And I think that's encouraging because it's just been a pretty steep decline.
Yeah.
Overall in the United States.
Because young people have been lied to for years. And I think COVID popped that balloon a little bit.
Yeah.
With all the lies of COVID.
There's things that
and the
that
isolation.
matter. Right.
And they're looking for something bigger.
Community matters, faith matters.
These are the things that hold us together. These are the founding principles of our great country.
Yeah. Well,
first of all, being
humanity.
faith.
Right.
So it's important. Really, but mentioning Luke Kayam, his son Cannon just graduated too. So congratulations to him.
Oh, there you go.
Going off to San Diego State, play lacrosse.
Oh wow. Okay. I didn't realize. It's so funny. Lacrosse has just never been anything I've come across. I don't think I've ever. I know I've never seen it live.
You haven't?
I've seen a clip on TV.
Really?
Is lacrosse?
It's the fastest growing sport in America.
No, that's high rocks.
No, only for old guys like you.
Yeah. No, lacrosse.
I mean,
so
lacrosse.
Is lacrosse. Do they have the basket with the ball?
Yeah, with a hard rubber ball.
Okay, so what's field hockey then?
Well, field hockey, you've got the hard rubber ball, but it's a stick, and you've got to whack it on the ground.
Okay, so lacrosse is the
pick
basket.
it up and cradle it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I played lacrosse in high school.
I find that
love
amazing.
lacrosse.
I don't know how's that
We
even
got
possible?
we got the Final Four happening in the NCAA's this weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's Cornell, Penn State. And
I want to do
Maryland.
I want to do a
one
listener
other.
poll of our listeners who pays attention. Not are you a fan? Do you even pay attention to lacrosse?
Probably not many. In terms of collegiate lacrosse or I mean, Brophy, speaking of Brophy, there's two of the fastest growing sports. They have their lacrosse team is unbelievable.
They've got lacrosse and
They've
Brophy?
got lacrosse and they've got rugby too. And their rugby
lacrosse-
team is doing great.
Are there men's and women's lacrosse?
I think, over at Xavier, the sister school to Brophy, there's women's.
lacrosse. Was it the Duke lacrosse team? Was that the whole
That
scam?
was the whole scam that was just...
Okay, that was lacrosse.
Yeah, that was lacrosse.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just realized.
Duke still has a great
remembered
lacrosse
that.
team.
Do they?
They do.
Despite the lies that were
Despite the
told?
lies that were
Boy,
thrown
that
at
was
them.
that
was
was
a long time ago.
crazy. You think about. I mean, that was pre-internet age.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you
lacrosse
imagine
team.
I mean, I suppose it would have been exposed as a scam significantly faster.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Yes. Yeah, more information would have come out quicker
Yeah.
than the long, hard slog those families had to go
I
through.
mean, they went
to
through
redeem
like
themselves.
a year.
Yeah.
Before anything
It was
came
horrible.
out.
And once that happens, and you're not given due process, talk about due process.
Yeah.
When you're accused of something like that and you're male and you're not given due process within even your own school, you have to move. You have to go to another school. You have to start over, and who knows who's going to even take you with all the national publicity.
It is
or even the local publicity.
It is the challenge with lies. They talk about how a lie can travel around the world 3 times before the truth even gets a chance to stand up. It's just so important in our society to be honest.
Yeah.
And we talked about that in the last episode, the lack of honesty about the president, his acuity. There's so much importance on transparency and honesty. I don't know. It's hard to overstate.
Well, and I mentioned this in the last podcast. I think the last 5 years really can be kind of characterized as smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
A lot of lies fed into lies, fed into more lies. And people are tired of that. And so, going back to your point, I think for young people, Pontius Pilate asked Jesus one of the great questions of the Bible, what is truth? Well, he's truth.
Right.
And if more and more young people in our communities are seeking truth, it's not. I always laugh at, well, that's your truth. That's not my truth. That's your truth. It's like, no, there's really only one truth.
Yeah, this relativism is,
and if you want to live in secular relativism, that's great. You can live your life that way. I have no problem with that. Relatively libertarian about those sorts of things. Yeah. But I'm going to pursue one truth. And that's how I'm going to spend my life. I spent my life before, and I try to impart this upon my kids too. I spent my life before pursuing other things. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Right.
One of the great honors, you talk about graduation. So all the 8th graders in the All Saints yearbook do a little blurb thanking their parents or whatever. And my son goes, "I'd like to thank God for giving me this opportunity."
That's
and
awesome.
I looked up at him after I read that. I go, "You've made your dad very proud.
Yeah.
In fact, you've made your entire family very proud." Because everybody else is blah, blah, blah. And it was fine. But to do that for a young man, 14 years old.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like, you just
stay right there.
Just stay right there. Keep going.
Right.
Just keep moving. And so to all the graduates out there in the last couple of weeks, we want to say congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Whether you're graduating from kindergarten or 8th grade or high school or college. It's a tremendous time. It's a scary time.
Yeah.
But it's also
New
a
beginnings.
time of families coming together. We're going to have a full house this week of grandparents and friends, and so it's going to be great.
Good.
And I'm sure you will as well.
Yeah. We're all the fam. It'll be fun.
And your family is...
There's a lot of them.
large noble family.
That's right. Great. Well, happy graduation to all graduates.
God bless you.
Take care.